Good morning, everyone. My name is John Walsh. I'm the Vice Provost at the University of Guelph-Humber, and I'm your host for today's special announcement. Firstly, I'd like to welcome and introduce our guests taking part in this morning's ceremony. The Honourable Mitzie Hunter, Minister of Advanced Education and Skills Development, and MPP Scarborough-Guildwood. The Honourable Chris Ballard, Minister of the Environment and Climate Change, and MPP Newmarket-Aurora. I'd also like to welcome our two partner institutions. From Humber College Institute of Technology and Advanced Learning, we have with us Dr. Chris Whitaker, President and Chief Executive Officer, and Rani K. Dhaliwal, Senior Vice President, Planning and Corporate Services and CFO. From the University of Guelph, pleasure to welcome Dr. Franco Vaccarino, President and Vice-Chancellor, with Daniel Atlin, Vice President, External. And finally, a welcome to Linda Franklin, President and Chief Executive Officer of Colleges of Ontario, and Cheryl Jensen, President and Chief Executive Officer of Algonquin College. Now, I think we all know that sustainability is top of mind for all of us in the post-secondary sector. So it's quite fitting that we gathered here in front of the University of Guelph's plant wall biofilter, one of the most notable sustainable initiatives on our campus. This was one of the first plant wall biofilters in Canada when the university opened in 2002, and it is still one of the largest in the country. In addition to this plant wall, we have other sustainability initiatives currently in action. The first being the Tune-Up programme that we are currently implementing as part of the Independent Environmental Monitoring Programme, Phase 1. This programme is where we analyse energy data to uncover operational inefficiencies so we can correct them. Secondly, we have a lighting retrofit project in the works. This initiative will convert all lighting currently in the building to LED, while adding lighting controls such as occupancy and daylight sensors, which will significantly reduce our overall energy consumption. I am very proud to say that with these two initiatives, we are forecasting a reduction of energy consumption at the University of Guelph-Humber by approximately 35%. Through our partnerships with the University of Guelph and Humber, we are proud to be continuously evaluating ways in which to conserve energy and reduce emissions, because sustainability is a top priority for us all. With that being said, I would now like to turn the podium over to the Honourable Mitzie Hunter.
Well, good morning, everyone. Bonjour, bonjour. It's really great to be here today, and I want to say thank you to John for that spectacular and warm welcome, and congratulations on those reductions. That's remarkable. It's really fantastic. It's really terrific to be here to meet the whole team at Guelph-Humber, and I want to say thank you for hosting us today, presidents. It's just, I enjoy working with both of you, and to see Chris Whitaker here as well as Franco Vaccarino here leading these two remarkable institutions and then working jointly, collaboratively here at Guelph-Humber is just really great. So thank you for warmly welcoming us here today. I want to start off by acknowledging that we are located on the traditional territories of Indigenous peoples dating back countless generations, and I want to show respect for the role of treaty making in what is Ontario, because hundreds of years after those treaties are signed, they are relevant to all of us today. I'm very excited to be here today, speaking to you in front of this, first of all, this amazing 4-story living wall. And I know it's 4 stories because I climbed up each and every one of those stairs, and it was like going on a hike. It felt so beautiful with the sunlight coming in and this lovely green space with this remarkable living wall. It's beautiful as well as functional because it is also integrated into the building's ventilation system. So that's really a great experience for our students and faculty and staff. And it's also a visual symbol of what a green campus should look like, right? So it's a powerful reminder of that. So today we're here and we're going to talk about what it means to have a green campus and how we can help every school in Ontario to get there. But let's start with what we know about Ontario's colleges and universities. First, we know that we're seen worldwide as having one of the best post-secondary education systems in the world. Do you believe that? You know, Ontario is known as having excellence in health, in education, as well as in food production worldwide. And it's why thousands of international students come here to study each and every year for our excellent post-secondary education system. And why companies like Reuters, Google, GM, and yes, even now Amazon, is looking into this province when they think about laying down new routes. They know that Ontario's graduates have the skills needed to take their businesses to the next level. And that's why our government has been doing everything that we can to get more people from diverse backgrounds and experiences to college and university. And namely, that's being done through free tuition, our new OSAP program. And I hope you've all heard about this program. Everyone? Yes? So I want to let you know that this year alone, over 225,000 students are going to school accessing free tuition through the new OSAP program. And hundreds of thousands more of our students are getting grants for almost the entire cost of tuition. And that's money students don't have to pay back. Because when cost is taken out of the equation, more people are able to come to one of our great schools like Guelph-Humber and get the education that they need to take on some of Ontario's biggest challenges. And we need our students to succeed. From global competition to economic uncertainty to climate change. And we all know that climate change is a big one because it really will take a whole new generation of leaders, thinkers to protect Ontario and our shared planet. So we need to make sure that when these future leaders get to college or university, that they're learning in modern, sustainable buildings like what we see here at Guelph-Humber. And that's why I'm happy to announce the new Greenhouse Gas Campus Retrofit Program. Through the program, we are investing up to $514 million in grants and interest-free loans for colleges and university repairs and retrofits. So, while every renovation might not be as spectacularly visible as our living wall behind me here, these funds will pay for very important and critical needs within our schools, like boiler replacements, energy-efficient windows, and other installations that reduce greenhouse gas emissions, meaning college and university campuses will be brought into the new century with sustainability and better learning spaces for students as the main focus. So students, this is all about you. This isn't just the right move for our environment, it's right for our students. So think about it. Every day, students are learning about climate change, extreme weather, pollution, and what we can do better to make a difference. For example, I know at Guelph, a lot of time is spent studying the changing climate effects on Ontario's agriculture and weather patterns. And I know, President, you were telling me that this is connected to what's happening around the world. It's a global issue. That knowledge is going to increase as we continue to prioritize teaching low-carbon skills, so that buildings and classrooms themselves should be part of that learning experience and part of the fight against climate change. Because the great thing about this investment is that all of the funds come from Ontario's Cap and Trade program. So in other words, our government's plan to fight climate change is paying for newer and greener campuses for our students to learn in the best environment possible. It is paying for dozens of pollution reducing initiatives. So while critics of our climate change action plan are busy arguing over what to do about pollution, if anything, we're focused on fighting climate change by investing in students, in families, and in communities. And to tell you more about this work and how today's announcements all fits together, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce my friend, my colleague, my seatmate. We sit pretty close to each other in the legislature, and he is a huge champion of the environment, Ontario's Minister of Environment and Climate Change, the Honourable Chris Ballard. Thank you, merci, and miigwech.
Well, thanks, Mitzie. I was going to say, you said it all, so maybe I should just come up here and say, Minister Hunter times two. But since I have some words here, I'm going to go through them. Good morning, everybody. I will say right off the bat, unscripted, boy, this place, I'm looking for a building that's familiar to me because I'm actually a Humber College graduate. I hate to think about how many years ago, but let's just say I started in the journalism program in 1980. So that's when, as my kids will remind me, dirt was new and dinosaurs were young or something like that. So I'm really pleased to follow my colleague and friend, Minister Hunter, and I want to congratulate her on today's exciting announcement. I know that my ministry and her ministry worked really closely to identify opportunities like the Greenhouse Gas Campus Retrofit Program. It's a great tool in our arsenal. It's an additional thing we all can do to fight against climate change. Our government made a commitment under our Climate Change Action Plan to support hospitals and schools and municipalities, universities and colleges in their efforts to reduce greenhouse gas pollution. And today, through announcements like this, we're helping to meet that. And similar to Minister Hunter, I want to acknowledge that the land we're gathered on here today is the traditional land of Indigenous peoples dating back countless generations. And what's special to me is the Indigenous whole earth perspective of our environment, that soil, air, water, and everything that lives on that, plants, humans, we're all connected. And it's a perspective that I and our Premier Kathleen Wynne and certainly my ministry have fully embraced and work into our policies. Ontario residents are anxious about climate change. They're concerned about the impact on our economy, on their jobs, on their housing, on their children's future, at a time when we're also facing many challenges from technology and global competition. We're at the early stages of the next industrial revolution, this one driven by the urgent need to move away from putting any more carbon or other greenhouse gas pollutants into the air. It requires rapid technological change and significant human adjustment. People know climate change is happening. They see changing weather, increased flooding, more intense storms, shorter winter road seasons, and increased vector-borne diseases. You know, I'm far from alone in seeing climate change as the greatest threat to our security and our prosperity. This is why the next industrial revolution, the one we're all embarking on together, must also be a low-carbon revolution. As Minister Hunter alluded to, Ontario's approach can be summed up very simply: cap and invest. We're capping the amount of greenhouse gas pollution that can be emitted and investing the proceeds from our carbon markets into projects that further reduce pollution and help make life easier for all Ontarians, like the campus retrofit program being announced here today. You know, we chose this plan because it guarantees reductions every year as the cap on greenhouse gas pollution is lowered, and because it delivers those reductions at the lowest cost for families and businesses. Through our climate change action plans, 90-plus actions, we're investing in Ontario's low-carbon economy, reducing our dependency on imported fossil fuels, and creating good, clean, local jobs as a result. Our plan to cap and invest ensures businesses and the public are able to participate fully in the creation of the low-carbon economy. By linking our carbon market with Quebec and California, we've joined a best-in-class carbon market system, according to the Independent Environmental Commissioner of Ontario, her recent report of 2 weeks ago. To date, we've held 4 carbon market auctions, generating more than $1.9 billion in revenue. And I'll let you know that by law, we're required to invest every single penny of those proceeds in projects that prevent or reduce greenhouse gas pollution, like the campus retrofit program. So far, we've announced more than $1 billion worth of investments that reduce greenhouse gas pollution and other nasty air contaminants, while at the same time helping to make life easier for Ontario residents. The investments are improving social housing, upgrading our schools, making bike lanes more common, supporting Indigenous communities, improving patient care at hospitals, modernizing our industries, partnering with municipalities, helping residents improve their homes. And now with today's announcement, upgrading our universities and college campuses. This is what we're doing in Ontario. This is our plan. And I think that given what's in the news today, we have 3 leadership candidates for the official opposition trying to outdo themselves to roll back what needs to be done to fight climate change. And I'm normally not partisan, but I am worried. I am worried that I'm worried for the future of my children, all of our children. I'm worried for the future of Ontario because there seems to be a reluctance on some in the official opposition to even acknowledge that climate change is a problem, let alone have a program to fix it. I know what's being proposed by the 3 blows a $16 billion hole in their platform that I can't see any way of fixing other than by cutting very important things like OSAP, OHIP+, all of the things that are making our lives easier. So it's not a debate I think we should be having after experiencing the warmest decade on record. And it's not what the vast majority of Ontario residents want. They want action from their leaders. They want action from business. They want to be involved in the change. And it's really what Ontario's Climate Change Action Plan is all about, getting everyone involved in fighting climate change. The new Greenhouse Gas Campus Retrofit Program will help universities and colleges become full partners by reducing greenhouse gas pollution and saving money that can be reinvested in creating better learning environments for Ontario students, like you folks right here. So again, I'd like to thank my colleague, Minister Hunter, for the great work being done by her ministry as we work together to create healthier and more prosperous communities and a better future for our province and the world. Thank you once again for inviting me to be here. Congratulations for this program. I feel really invigorated. It must be all of the oxygen the plants behind me are pumping out. I just know it's there. And I will end by saying that when the weather is as beautiful as it is today, clearly weather then is a provincial responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Ballard and Minister Hunter. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Vaccarino to provide some remarks.
Well, thank you very much, John. I'm absolutely delighted to be here. I have to tell you, I'm particularly excited to be here at the Humber campus with my counterpart, Chris Whitaker, a great friend and colleague. And I would say that this campus is not only a point of pride for the University of Guelph, but it's also a fantastic demonstration of the power of good partnerships, of solid partnerships. And delighted to be here. And congratulations to all of you for having such a great campus and doing such a terrific job. Thank you to both Minister Hunter and Minister Ballard for being here today as well, here at the University of Guelph-Humber, and for announcing what I would say is not only a very important investment, but a significant investment on behalf of the province. At the University of Guelph, we applaud the Ontario government's commitment to reducing greenhouse gas emissions to fight climate change, and we've heard much about this in the comments from both ministers. And for obvious reasons, we're very pleased to hear that government plans to invest in campus retrofits at universities and colleges across the province. And you know, when you hear the word retrofit, it doesn't necessarily sound, it's not a word that is necessarily energizing in the typical way when you think about academic institutions, but these are the kinds of things that keep buildings and organizations and institutions like ours running, and it's phenomenal, and it's so very important to see the forward-looking nature of these investments. University of Guelph is fully committed to reducing our own campus carbon footprint and investing in green technologies, all to save energy and money to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and to ensure ultimately more sustainable campuses. And we've already taken significant strides towards those goals here at the University of Guelph. Our Green Griffin program, for example, launched in 2007, is a $26 million campus-wide energy retrofit that has already enabled the university to save money and reduce our emissions. That program has enabled us to reduce our natural gas consumptions by 2.3%. And to give you a sense of what 2.3%, which doesn't sound like a big number, it results in annual savings of $2.2 million. Not incidentally, the program is supported by our Student Energy Retrofit Fund, in which significant per-student contributions are matched dollar to dollar by the university. And one of the most visible signs of that program on our Guelph campus is actually a thermal energy storage system. Basically, what that is, that's a fancy name for a huge, big, giant water tank that was installed in 2016. And that system, also supported by provincial energy incentives, has generated huge energy savings and reductions in emissions for the university. Now, looking forward, we have similar ambitious plans for further innovations on campus to save even more energy and to further reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Today's announcement is going to benefit the university by helping us to address key facility maintenance needs on our campus as we further strengthen our position as a green technology leader with our own commitment to improve life. And at the end of the day, that's what so much of this is about, quite simply improving life. Upcoming projects on campus that today's investments will have a significant impact on include retrofitting many of our large buildings that were built in the 60s and 70s, such as our University Center, improving the energy efficiency of the campus's central heating and cooling plant, and developing a net zero a net zero building at our well-known Arboretum Center using a geothermal heating and cooling system. And again, not incidentally, we aim to find curriculum development and experiential learning opportunities for our students on these projects. So not only are these projects going to have a terrific sustainability impact, they're also going to be context for our students to benefit in terms of experiential learning and opportunities for them. This commitment from our province to invest in campus retrofits is going to help the University of Guelph to continue striving for an energy future that's both sustainable as well as reliable. It benefits the wider world as well, and I'm delighted that Minister Hunter mentioned this, the connectivity in the broader context. This is about benefits in the broadest context, including our students who will have an opportunity to see how the power of their knowledge comes to life in real and meaningful ways. Again, thank you very much. I applaud Minister Hunter and Minister Ballard's plan to invest in retrofits at the province's post-secondary institutions. Ultimately, this is an investment for our shared future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Vaccarino. Now, I would ask that Rani K. Dhaliwal come and say a few words.
Well, good morning, everybody. Minister Hunter, Minister Ballard, colleagues from the University of Guelph, Guelph-Humber, colleagues from the college system, faculty, staff, students. This is a wonderful, wonderful day, and the announcement is certainly much appreciated. It is a privilege to speak to you about today's announcement and sustainability across our campus, a subject that is really near and dear to Humber students, staff, faculty, and our planning process. As John noted, and I think Minister Hunter also noted about the features of this wall, maybe I'll just add one other item. Anytime you're feeling stressed or you want a bit of a health piece, come and sit by here and take a deep breath in, and it will certainly help you further. So as far as Humber, as we look back, the Living Wall was an early symbol of strong sustainability culture within Humber. Since then, the college has reached significant achievements. I'm just going to list a few of them just in case you're not aware. 10 years ago, we completed our construction of Centre of Urban Ecology located at the Humber Arboretum. The centre was the first LEED Gold building in Toronto. 5 years ago, Humber was the first Ontario college and the third in Canada to receive the Silver Stars designation. And we're going for gold next year, so just wait for that. And for the last 2 years, Humber has been named one of Canada's greenest employers, a significant achievement. Sustainability is one of our core values, and we, as a leader within the college system, value that. I'd like to acknowledge and thank the Ontario government and to recognize the province for its leadership in combating climate change. Without that leadership, without that investment, we could not do what we really need to do as a college, as a society. So funding received today goes a long way, along with previous investments from the province and the federal government, like the Strategic Initiative Fund. It supports Humber's aggressive integrated energy master plan. This plan has aggressive targets in reducing carbon footprint and goes beyond provincial levels and would allow us to reach a world-class energy performance. Most notably, we're on track to reduce water and energy use by 50% and greenhouse gas emissions by 30% by 2034. Yes. Since the plan was launched in 2015, we have reduced energy consumption by 10% and water consumption by 40%, with an annual average saving of approximately $1 million since that implementation. Those dollars get reinvested in what we are here to do, which is really the teaching and learning experience for our students. Humber is moving forward towards a future in which we also too have a net zero direction across the campus in anything that we build. The funding announced today will help us pursue additional energy efficiencies, and directly connects the student learning, such as the Passive House NFIT certification for Building Annex, which is just kind of to the right of you, at the North Campus. This Passive House standard is recognized as one of the most stringent energy efficiency standards in the world. And Humber hopes with this investment to do the retrofit to the Annex building to achieve that Passive House NFIT designation. The Annex project is important because it goes beyond our facilities and into our classrooms. It is a perfect example of Humber's polytechnic approach, providing students with a combination of theory and career-focused hands-on learning, a combination that employers demand and that prepares our students for the jobs of the future. The project will be integrated into curriculum using a team of students from a number of our programs: architectural technology, sustainability, building technology, project management, and supply chain management. The student team will collaborate with our industry, actual architectural engineering firms, construction firms, to create the outcomes. They'll do a parallel sort of process as far as the whole project will be concerned. Participating in real-life industry projects provides our students with the opportunity to advance their technical knowledge and gain practical experience for the workforce before they graduate. In closing, I'd like to once again thank the Ontario government for the support, for your leadership, for your investment. As I said, without it, we would not be able to achieve those outcomes. I'd also like to take the opportunity to thank a number of ministry staff that might be here, as well as our facility folks who have really led this project as well. So thank you for all the grueling exercises that you've been going through. And I should add some of the leadership that Colleges Ontario provided as we were going through this process. So moving forward, we're very excited to work with the province, to work with our stakeholders, to work with our faculty, staff, and students to ensure not only are we creating a better environment and the right impact to the environment, that we're also learning as we grow, and that we're creating buildings that are healthy buildings that will create data, and that data will be used for our future learnings. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Rani. Before we officially conclude, do photos, I would like to open the floor to any questions that you may have. Do you have a microphone?
I believe it was Dr. Pecorino. I don't want to say the name correctly. I apologize. You did mention that the college is hoping to achieve net zero certification. Once the college receives that net zero certification and starts selling back what you can, I'm wondering where those dollars are allocated once the government receives those dollars. Where does that money go?
Sure.
I'll just. I'm not sure if others heard the question. Everybody's saying no. So although you do have a loud voice, it's not as loud as maybe you think. Yeah, but maybe I'll just try to paraphrase. I referred to the zero, the net zero project that we're working on, and I think the question was basically where do the savings that come from that, where do they end up being allocated back? And this is reminding me actually of, we have a great improvisation program at the University of Guelph. So you plan and you plan, but I didn't know we were going to have questions, so this is terrific opportunity to improvise. Okay. So basically, great question, of course, and we heard even with Humber College that the savings ultimately go back to operations, and we will. Will be it'll be part of our budget planning process. So any savings that happen through those kinds of initiatives are brought back into the broader planning process. And our priority, of course, ultimately is our students. So, sure. Oh, what? Yeah.
Thank you very much. Beg your pardon. Ooh, stuck on my wheelchair.
There you go.
There we go. Okay, I know that Humber College has been certified silver, LEED certified silver. Do they need to get through the gold and the platinum first before your net zero initiatives will become a reality?
A good question. I don't think so, but Rani, maybe you want to come up and help me out with that one in terms of the sequencing.
So the STARS designation is somewhat different. It actually recognizes an organization that what it's doing, what it's saying is it's doing. To achieve the gold designation, it requires the embedding of sustainability within the curriculum. So that's our last piece. More so, we're doing it today, but to enhance it further.
Do we still need to get to the platinum certification before you can do your net zero initiative?
No.
That's what I'm wondering.
No.
Okay, so the net zero is over and above your LEED certification.
That's right.
Alrighty, now I have one more question. As you can see, I'm physically handicapped in a wheelchair, and I know this is a little bit off topic, but learning here is very important to me. I'm wondering if you're aware that in my wing in the Humber College, which is L wing, there is not one single door in any of my classrooms that has an automatic door. I have barriers put before me that is going to stymie my education, and I have sent a letter off to Minister Hunter's office, which I did not receive anything back. And I've also taken my worries here at Humber College all the way to Dr. Chris Whitaker. So I'm just wondering how all this talk of our education and how fantastic it is letting me and many other physically handicapped people here at Humber down. And I'm voicing this as well as all the emails and letters that I've been sending off since September 2017. Thank you.
Let me first of all say thank you for mentioning that. And this is when we talk about our students, we mean that in the broadest way. And so what you're pointing out in terms of barriers is not only important, but it's a reminder. It's a reminder that the journey that we're on in terms of addressing these things is a journey that we need to continue to pay attention to and actually even speed up. So, if you rewind 10, 15, 20 years, there's been progress made, but what you're saying is so very important because it's a reminder that we're not there yet. And we need to continue raising the bar, and we need to continue pursuing that bar in a thoughtful but also in an aggressive way. So thank you for mentioning that. Appreciate that. Thank you.
So I also want to just thank you for your question, and it's very important. In fact, we have work that has begun in terms of accessibility for Ontarians in the education system, both in the K-12 space as well as in the post-secondary space. So this is an approach that our government takes very seriously. Premier Wynne committed to doing this last fall. We've taken steps to appoint a chair in the process of setting up the committee. That it's a technical committee that will actually review the standards for accessibility across our system of post-secondary so that you would not experience those types of barriers in your pursuit of a post-secondary education. So I recognize the challenges today, and I know that our leaders you've made that known to them, and they're aware of that, but I wanted you to know what the work is that is underway to make sure accessibility is a priority. I've been in this role for 2 weeks, so I will get your name and find your letter and make sure you get a response. So thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to be able to stay on time. I know that we have time for one more question, if indeed we have a questioner.
Good morning, everyone. Congratulations, Ms. Hunter, for getting your position, by the way. I just have a question in regards to, I think the initiative that we're doing right now is excellent for Ontario, but what about the other provinces? I know you guys are obviously like focusing just on Ontario, but what about our peers in the BC and especially Alberta with the issues surrounding the pipeline? I know that's obviously a bigger issue, but in terms of post-secondary, is this going to be replicated in those provinces?
Good question. You're right. I'm responsible for the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change here in Ontario, but pollution knows no boundaries. Something that happens in California will find its way to Ontario at some point. In fact, this past summer, we had 2 or 3 days with low air quality warnings because of the wildfires in British Columbia and the wildfires in California and the smoke and the pollutants landing here in Ontario. So pollution knows no boundaries. I try and work as closely as I can with my counterparts across Ontario. I am working hard to encourage as many of them as possible to join the Western Climate Initiative. That's the cap and trade system that we've set up with Quebec and California. We're having some success in attracting more American states into this program because it is a very effective way of lowering greenhouse gas pollutions or pollutants. And we also talk through ministerial forums around things like sulfur dioxide and nitrous oxide and other really nasty pollutants that are out there. So at the province-to-province level, we're trying to do what we can do to coordinate our efforts and to try and make sure that we have standards across Ontario, heck, across all of Canada that are similar. And we're trying to build a coalition of the willing in North America. With the election of a certain president to the south of us, I was very worried. We were very worried that climate change would be put on the back burner. What we have found, frankly, is the opposite, that now citizens and towns and cities and states are banding together, regardless of their political affiliations, I might add, which is a very positive thing, to work together to lower their greenhouse gas pollutants and other pollutants as well, and share that knowledge right across political boundaries, partisan boundaries, and that's a good thing. So I'll continue to work with my counterparts in all the other provinces, all the other states across North America, South America, and make the changes that are so necessary and so important.
Thank you, Minister. I do notice our time, and at this point, I think the formal part of our ceremony concludes. I would like to take a moment to thank again both the ministers for joining us and both the presidents and vice presidents from Humber and from Guelph. I cannot help but remark on the number of people in our own community who have taken time out of their schedule to come and be part of this event. I think that speaks to the interest level in sustainability and in education, and I would like to take a special moment to thank both of the people who had time for questions directly to ministers and presidents. It is wonderful to live in a country where that is possible. Thank you very much again for attending, and enjoy the rest of this snow-free day. Thank you.